Hello, this is Gabriel Swanson. I'm doing a presentation on Fooled by Randomness and the Black Swan by Nassim Taleb for my Statistics 550 class. I'm going to go going over the key topics discussed in the book and discuss some of Nassim's viewpoints. So moving on to the next slide, we have the ludic fallacy. Ludic fallacy is the mistaken belief that life always operates with a set of rules like a game, but when in reality the rules can suddenly change without giving any indication. So, like, say you have say you assume that there's a chance that the chance of this happening is always this amount, but suddenly the chance may suddenly rise without you knowing it, because again, in real life there's too many factors to gamify it, so the rules you establish may suddenly change without you knowing it. And the narrative fallacy. The narrative fallacy is the human tendency to always assign a reason to why something happened, even when it is impossible to determine exactly why something happened. Yeah, like, people always want to say, like, this happened because of this, or this person says this because of that, but it's either A, impossible to determine one specific thing that caused it, or B, all these things may be just irrelevant. So you don't really know, so therefore you shouldn't be trying to assign a reason to everything, because again, it's impossible to know what exactly why something happened. The survivorship bias. The survivorship bias is the flawed logic of attributing why someone succeeded to their characteristics without seeing if they shared characteristics with those who did not succeed. This is often seen in the example Taleb gives the stock market, looking at people who made it rich. A lot of the characteristics they had were shared by people who didn't make it rich and lost a lot of money. So, so when looking to see what characteristics are needed to succeed, you've got to look at the losers as well, because some characteristics may be shared by both the winners and the losers, and so you can't really just look at the winners alone figure out why someone succeeded, because again, some of those characteristics may be relevant as they're possessed by everyone, including the losers. The induction problem of black swans. The induction problem is basing your perceptions purely on what has happened in the recent past, not even considering that things could suddenly and drastically change. Black swans are Taleb's term for rare events with very drastic consequences that appear to the extreme detriment or benefit of people who weren't expecting them. Basically, a lot of models are based on previous knowledge, hence induction. But again, that doesn't account for stuff that hasn't happened in the past, which could happen. Just because something in the past could happen in the future. And for the black swans, if something you were expecting happens and it has a very big effect that could drastically hurt or help you, that's what Nassim calls a black swan. Another example, like the classic example, is of course the chicken/turkey thinking of the human as its friend until the last day when the human chops its head off. The scandal of prediction. The scandal of prediction. Let me adjust my slides real quick. Okay. The scandal of prediction is Taleb's term for the unfounded trust people place in statisticians and others trained in using Gaussian methods to predict the future, when in reality they are wrong more often than they think they will be. So yeah, humans want to predict the future, and so they put a lot of trust in people who predict the future. But oftentimes you can't really do that, and trying to get exact predictions often hurts you, because you prepare for one specific scenario, but not for a bunch of scenarios, when in reality you don't know what scenario will play out. Locke's definition of a madman. Locke's definition of a madman is a person who reasons correctly but using faulty premises. This definition is particularly relevant because of a lot of Gaussian models, while their computation and reasoning are sound, the premises they start with are flawed, rendering the models built on them faulty. So yeah, one of these faulty premises is assuming that people will act rationally, when proven through various studies that humans do not always act rationally. So therefore you can't really use that as a premise when developing your models. The bell curve, the great intellectual fraud. The bell curve is a model in statistics that dictates that the further away you go from the average, the bigger the decrease in the probability of something occurring becomes, making extreme events almost impossible to occur. According to the Taleb, this model is a fraud, as events far away from the average have occurred numerous times throughout history when, according to the bell curve, such events could only occur once in countless lifetimes of the universe. Yeah, basically the bell curve is bad because it incentivizes you to discount rare events. If the rarer the event, the less you know about its actual probability. So you can't really use this. Like, using this is dangerous because it leads you to just turn a blind eye to possible dangers or benefits, aka black swans, that can have massive impact. Mediocre stand versus extremist stand. Mediocre stand and extremist stand are two different terms Taleb uses for two different environments. In mediocre stand, a significant deviation from the norm will not affect the overall average much. In extremist stand, such a deviation will. Human instincts are geared toward mediocre stand, which is detrimental to due to modern changes in the world we live in. Behaves much more like extremist stand. Gaussian models are also guilty of assuming we live in mediocre stand when in reality we live in extremist stand. So yeah, basically, mediocre stand, everything's going to follow a norm. Rare events are not going to be too impactful, but in extremist stand they are, and extremist stand, so yeah, another difference is in mediocre stand, the distribution of the pie is even among everyone, but extremist stand, some people will hold a very disproportionate amount of the pie. Like in book sales, one person could dominate like half the market. So moving on to the next slide. And that's it. That's it. Do not mind this red text. Red text. I wasn't able to get rid of it. Going back uh, to so just going over some more stuff with with the Taleb, Taleb's views on stuff. He wants to he encourages us to make decisions where we have a chance of where the payoff is very big and the payoff from winning is very big and the payoff from losing is very small. I believe he called it con con. I forget if it was concave or convex, but it's basically the upside down. It's basically the U shape. So basically, because you don't really, because again, you can't really determine what the actual chances are of something occurring with enough accuracy to be reliable. So you have to go on the payoff. So yeah, he encourages you to make bets that'll lose you little and win you big in terms of payoff. Okay, so that's been my presentation on Fooled by Randomness and the Black Swan by Nassim Taleb. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time.